Hey everybody, how's it going? Stoudman coming back at you again today, and today I'm going to talk to you about some titles that I got from Half Price Books. Because you know me, whenever they have a sale, I gotta go to Half Price Books. And today they had a fill the bag with media for $20 sale. It was media only. I don't mind that because you know me, I'm a media hound. I gotta get my media fix whenever I can. And hey, when I have a filled bag for $20 sale, you gotta go for it. You can almost always fill a bag with at least 20 items, so you're paying $1 each. Not a bad deal, you know what I mean? This time around, I filled it with stuff for myself and for another person as a gift. I already gave them the stuff that I got as a gift, so the bag, as you're seeing here, isn't necessarily full. There's some space here, because that space was being used by the stuff that I had given as a gift. So, with that in mind, you're not going to see, I don't think there's even 20 titles in here. I don't think there's 20 things. But there are enough things that with the additional stuff that I got as gifts, it was a pretty good deal. So I think in total I paid about $1, maybe a little bit less than $1 per title, per item that I picked up here. So not a bad deal, all things all things considered, and I'm pretty happy with what I found. I wouldn't say it was the best haul, the best finds that I'd ever made at Half Price Books, but then it's kind of hard to say that when you've found like Olive titles and stuff like that. I mean, nothing is ever gonna compare to that. That was just like one of the best finds ever. That was literally dream worthy, dream come true kind of stuff. So yeah, with that said, I will go ahead and show you the 2 CDs that I picked up first. The first one being the soundtrack to My Girl, which I picked up because it has a lot of classic songs from back in the day. Of course, My Girl by The Temptations. I've also got Hot Fun in the Summertime, performed by Sly and the Family Stone. You've got Do Wah Diddy by Manfred Mann. I Saw the Light. I got Good Lovin' by the Rascals, Bad Moon Rising, Creedence Clearwater Revival. If you don't know me by now, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, I Only Have Eyes for You, the Flamingos, Saturday in the Park by Chicago, and the theme from My Girl. Ooh, remember that classic? Yeah, anyway, decided to pick this up because it has a lot of classic music in it, so yeah. And then I also picked up a little oddity that baseball fans may know something about. Bronson Arroyo, I think this is called, what is it, Rounding the Bases? Covering the Bases. Bronson Arroyo Covering the Bases. This is like a little cover album that pitcher Bronson Arroyo did back in like 2005. Some of you may know him, some of you may not. He was a pitcher. He is still, actually, he's still pitching in the major leagues. But at the time that he did this album, he was a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. And the Boston Red Sox at that time were pretty damn good. And at that time, he was also pretty damn good. I think he's still a fairly decent pitcher, but he's getting a little bit older and not necessarily as good as he once was. But I won't fault him for it because, you know, he's a memorable pitcher. He's a memorable guy in the majors, and I like him, man. I like him, and I think it was pretty cool that he did this little cover album. I recall finding like some tracks of this online way back when it first came out and thinking, holy crap, Bronson Arroyo did a cover album? And holy crap, some of these are actually kind of good. Like, no joke, some of these are actually somewhat decent. The covers are all of like mostly 90s alternative rock, if you will. So he's got the first song here is Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls, but you know, it's his cover of it. Those are all cover songs. What's the second? Down in the Hole. I don't remember what that's from though. Down in the Hole. Maybe I'll just read it out of the thing here. Alice in Chains. That's right. Down in the Hole. Yeah, I got it. Okay. The Freshman by the Verve Pipe. Everybody knows The Freshman. Everlong by the Foo Fighters. that's the one I recall the most out of this one. That's the one that I liked the most because it was just surprisingly well done. And believe it or not, the spoken word and additional lyrics in the song are done by Stephen King. Okay. Black by Pearl Jam. Pardon Me by Incubus. Something's Always Wrong by Toad the Wet Sprocket. Plush by Stone Temple Pilots. Shimmer by Fuel. Hunger Strike by Temple of the Dogs. Best I've Ever Had by Vertical Horizon. And Dirty Water by the Standells. So, some pretty notable, interesting tracks on this cover album. If you're into the 90s alternative music like I am, then it's definitely something that you might want to consider putting in your collection, especially just as like a little oddity. And the mere fact that the covers are actually pretty decent or halfway decent, considering the fact that he's primarily a Major League Baseball pitcher. You know, you wouldn't expect them to be very good, but yeah, they're actually pretty good. And some of the songs actually include guest appearances by some of his teammates, including the last one, Dirty Water, has background vocals by Johnny Damon and Kevin Youkilis. So you may recall Johnny Damon at the time was the center fielder for the Red Sox. Kevin Youkilis was, I believe, the first baseman for the Red Sox. Who else do I recognize here from Plush? I guess they got Mike Inez to do bass. That's interesting. I'm not seeing anybody else immediately jumping out at me, but regardless, this is just a really, really interesting little curio to find, and it was in pretty much immaculate condition, so I was happy to add it to my bag because I was like, you know what, even if I never listen to this again, it's just kind of a cool little thing to have a picture, did a cover album of all these 90s songs that I know and love. So yeah. Next up here, let's get onto the DVDs. I found Jackie Chan's The Myth, which I picked up primarily because the synopsis sounded interesting. Martial arts legend Jackie Chan stars as Jack, oh go figure, a world-renowned archaeologist who has begun having mysterious dreams of a past life as a warrior in ancient China. When a fellow scientist asks for Jack's help in locating the mausoleum of China's first emperor, the past collides violently with the present as Jack discovers his amazing visions are based in fact. Assisted by the spirit of a noble princess, Jack follows a mystical trail that soon finds him battling the forces of the legendary emperor as well as the henchmen of a modern-day Tomb Raider as he seeks to uncover history's greatest secret and his own destiny. That to me immediately struck a couple of chords. It immediately made me feel like, oh my god, it's Jackie Chan in like an Indiana Jones movie. That sounds amazing. But the other thing that I thought of was the synopsis kind of reminds me of Assassin's Creed, which, from what I've heard, was not a very good movie. So maybe this will be better than Assassin's Creed. Maybe it'll do a better job at telling essentially a similar story. Whatever the case may be, I've actually heard it's not that good of a movie, but I still want to see it. Synopsis alone has me interested. Next up, I found My Giant, which I do not believe has ever been released to Blu-ray, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up here on DVD. I did kind of like this when I was younger. I thought it was an alright movie, not a great movie, but something that if it was on TV, I would sit down and watch it at least for, 30, 45 minutes or something like that, until something better came on, essentially. So I'd say it was like a 6 out of 10 then. This is when I wanted to check out again and see if I felt like it was any better than that. So yeah, I'm sure it's not as good as I remember it being. It's probably the other side of that tale, you know what I mean? But, high hopes. Let's hope it's actually pretty decent, at least as good as I remember, you know what I mean? So yeah. Cool at least to find something that I do not believe is not on Blu-ray yet. Next, I found the 7th season of Scrubs here. My friends chastised me when I picked up seasons 1 through 5 because I didn't pick up season 7 at the same time because they didn't have a good copy of season 6 in as well. So they said, but why wouldn't you get season 7? Why wouldn't you just get that and then you can get season 6 at some other point? Well, I've corrected that mistake, alright? I got season 7 here, put it in the bag. The discs were all in fan-freaking-tastic condition. I think this is actually a shorter run season, though. I don't know if that has to do with, like, issues with writer's strike or something, but I do know that there are only, like, 11 episodes in this season, so whatever the case is, I am definitely glad to have the 7th season here to go along with my first 5 seasons, and at some point I'm sure I'll pick up the 6th season as well. I haven't even sat down to watch them yet, but I've heard so many good things about Scrubs that I don't mind picking up every copy I can find of every season so that I can eventually sit down and watch it all. Next up I found Passenger 57, which you can barely see because somebody put their stupid sticker on it. But I picked this up not for the artwork, but primarily so that I could try before I buy on Blu-ray. This is available on Blu-ray, and I wanted to watch it again to decide whether or not it was something that I want to pick up on Blu-ray. So, you know, this will be a good candidate for the Should I Buy series that I've been doing recently. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. Very glad to have gotten it. Just throw it into the fill the bag for $20. Just throw it in the bag. Why the hell not? Something that you want to check, watch again before you buy it on Blu-ray. Why not, you know? Next up, yet another Wesley Snipes movie, and that would be Murder at 1600. And again, you've got this stupid sticker residue because the person who had this decided they had to put their sticker on everything they own. I recall this being a pretty good movie. I don't think it was necessarily a great movie, but again, this is something I wanted to try again before buying on any other version or any other release. I don't think this has been released on Blu-ray yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did get released again at some point in a higher definition, because I recall it being quite popular back in the day. I am glad to have this just so I can check out the movie again and decide whether or not it's something that I really want in my collection, or if it's something that it's just okay and maybe I don't need to have it, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's always nice to be able to get stuff like that for a really cheap price so that you can just try it out again. Next up, I found this really strange movie. This is just like, I think one of the strangest movies I found. And that would be Enduring Love, starring Daniel Craig and Rhys Ifans. Rhys Ifans. I can never pronounce his name. I'm sorry. It's probably not even Rice. It's Reese, right? It's Reese. I can never pronounce his name. I'm sorry, because he's such a great actor. So I really am sorry. But yeah, this is a really weird sounding movie just from the synopsis. Joe, played by Daniel Craig, is an accomplished writer and professor whose rational life is thrust into a downward spiral of guilt after witnessing a freak fatal ballooning accident while picnicking with girlfriend Claire. Jed, another man involved in that fateful day, seeks out Joe, looking for consolation in a way to make sense of this tragedy that they've both witnessed. Tell me if that doesn't sound weird. Immediately you see the cover and you're like, okay, so you got a guy hanging from a hot air balloon here. What the hell is going on here? Is this Police Academy 4? What is this? What's happening? And no, apparently this is like the catalyst for the movie. The guy, fatal balloon accident. I guess we know what happens to this guy. Thanks for the spoiler, you frickin' you synopsis, you. But it just sounds so weird. Why would you be feeling guilt over a fatal ballooning accident that you had nothing to do with? You just saw it happen. Why would that make you feel guilty? You didn't do it. You didn't cause anything like that to happen necessarily. I don't know if maybe he did, but I don't know that yet because I watched the movie, right? But it just, the synopsis makes it sound so frickin' weird, and you've got these really notable actors behind this. Remember the Jackal? This kind of gives me that Jackal feeling for some reason. it feels like it could be kind of like that, and I wanted to check it out to see what this was all about. Next up, I found a movie that I think is out of print and is not on Blu-ray to my knowledge, so I decided to go ahead and pick up Embrace of the Vampire, starring Alyssa Milano. Yeah, back in the day, Alyssa Milano, remember that? I've never seen this, never heard of it, but immediately, just based on the fact that I had Alyssa Milano and it's a vampire movie, like, sure, why the hell not? This sounds like something that I could at least do a review of for like Halloween, for my Halloween videos. People might be interested in hear my thoughts on this movie. Never even heard of it before until I saw this in the store. So, yeah, pretty interesting. In the tradition of Poison Ivy, in the tradition of Alyssa Milano plays Charlotte, a sensuous but innocent college freshman who is being seduced by an obsessive lover, a lover who comes to her only in dreams, a dark, handsome vampire who touches her in forbidden places and will stop at nothing to arouse her passion. Wow. Wow. Suggestive much? Whew. Yeah, don't watch this one with the kiddies around. Holy crap. So, yeah. I am definitely interested in checking this out at some point, but I'm honestly not expecting much. I'm expecting it to be like maybe okay, but not great. Mostly picked it up because, again, Alyssa Milano, vampire movie, and also not on Blu-ray and apparently out of print. So, yeah. Next up, I picked up another title that I do not believe is on Blu-ray, and another title that I think might be out of print, and that is Cobb, starring Tommy Lee Jones. Never seen this until I saw it in the store. I'd never even actually heard of it. I didn't know that Tommy Lee Jones starred in a baseball movie. I had no idea, so pretty cool stuff. And he apparently stars as Ty freaking Cobb. I mean, how could you pass that up? As a baseball fan, I had to pick this up. Just had to see it. Tommy Lee Jones, baseball movie, plays Ty Cobb. Done. Sold. Next up, I found a movie that a lot of people have been telling me I really need to see, and that is Richard Attenborough's Chaplin movie, a docudrama, if you will, about Charlie Chaplin, starring Robert Downey Jr., Dan Aykroyd. I'm going to read off the title here: Anthony Hopkins, Mila Jovovich, Kevin Kline, Diane Lane, Paul Reese, Marissa Tomei, James Woods, Nancy. I mean, there are just a laundry list here of notable names. You know what I mean? And Richard Attenborough, hell yeah. I mean, I have been told by at least a few people that this movie is excellent and I need to see it. So when I saw it in the store, I'm like, yeah, gotta get it. Gotta get it just so I can finally see it and make my friends happy and let them know I took their advice and I went and got this and I watched it. So, yeah. Hopefully it's as good as I said it was. I have no doubt it will be. Next up, I found a Gene Hackman movie I had never seen before that was directed by David Mamet. So I was like, well, that sounds interesting. It is Heist. It's called Heist here. It also stars, as you may note there, Danny DeVito. Gene Hackman, Danny DeVito in a kind of thriller-looking movie called Heist, directed by David Mamet. Like, yeah, I definitely got to see that. I don't know if this has been released on Blu-ray yet. I don't think it has, but whether or not it has been released on Blu-ray, this is just something that I had to pick up because it looks so freaking interesting. The actors behind it, the director, I had to, you know what I mean? These are people that I know and love. I have to check it out. So yeah, I don't know much about it, so if you guys have seen this and know what it's about and can fill me in on whether or not it's good, that's all I want to know. Is it good? Is it okay? Then go ahead and leave that in the comments below. Tell me your thoughts, at least, on this particular pickup, because I would like to hear them. I would like to know, was I wise to pick this up? Was this a good pickup or not? Should I have just left this there? Is there a reason that a movie starring Gene Hackman and Danny DeVito has become a relative obscurity. Whatever the case, I am definitely glad that I picked this up because, it's worth it just to check. It's worth it just to check. Next up, I found another movie that is out of print. And I honestly didn't have much interest in it. I mainly got it because it's out of print and because the artwork is just beautiful, in my opinion. You've got The Crush here starring Alicia Silverstone. It stars Alicia Silverstone. She's on the freaking cover and I can't remember her name. That is a problem. But yeah, it just sounds like a kind of a thriller slash romantic film, a romantic thriller, I guess you could say. And there were a lot of movies like that came out during the early 90s and the late 90s, throughout the late 90s, I should say. So I guess I shouldn't be too surprised about this movie. I swear that I've seen this before. Maybe I'm confusing it with The Babysitter, but I think I have seen this before. And I recall it being at least all right, but I don't really remember enough. If it is the movie that I'm thinking of, I don't remember enough to know for sure. So definitely had to pick it up just to check it out again, and also because it's out of print. Alan Shapiro, yeah, give that a shot. Why the hell not? Next up, a movie I picked up simply because it starred Dennis Hopper. Spreading Ground. Or Spreading Ground. I don't know how. I don't know what that's all about. The director, don't really know what they've done, but I do know that I love Dennis Hopper. He's just one of those actors who is capable of doing so many, or was, I should say, capable of doing so many over-the-top roles in such an amazing, hilarious, brilliant way. He's a lot like Nicolas Cage in that way, where Nicolas Cage is so good at just being over the top, you know what I mean? So I definitely wanted to see this just because Dennis Hopper is so much fun to watch. Even when he does bad movies, it's fun to watch him do them. So yeah, I wanted to check it out and see if it was something worth owning. Even if it's not worth owning, I didn't pay that much money for it. So not a bad idea to just throw it in the bag. Why the hell not? Give it a shot. You know what I mean? I keep saying all those things over and over again because I'm freaking tired and I forget that I've already said those things. I'm sorry. Next up, I found Steven Spielberg's Munich. I have not yet seen this movie. It's a Steven Spielberg movie that I have not yet seen. I had to rectify that because I love Steven Spielberg. So hell yeah, threw that in the bag simply because it's a Steven Spielberg movie I have not yet seen, and typically he doesn't do anything bad, so, or at least doesn't do a whole lot of stuff that's very bad, so I'm expecting this to be at least halfway decent. I would say that this is probably going to be like a 7 out of 10 for me, just based on the fact that it's a Steven Spielberg movie. I can tell you that much right out the gate, so yeah. This looks very, very good. It looks very promising. I had heard of it at the time, but I never was really interested in seeing it, even though it was Steven Spielberg. Now that I've waited this long, I'm just like, I gotta do it. I gotta finally give this one a shot. So, yeah. Munich. Next up, I found Samurai Jack the movie. Man, I would have loved to find, like, the season sets or something like that, but to even find just Samurai Jack the movie here on DVD is really cool, especially considering that the new series has come out. I haven't had the chance yet actually to see the new series, but I've heard it's very, very good. And I really want to go through and watch the original series before going into that one, but who knows if I will or not. At the very least, I can check this out now. I'll check this out again. It'll have been the first time that I've seen anything Samurai Jack in at least 10, 15 years, so yeah. Pretty cool to find this, especially since it fetches at least like 10, 15 bucks online, so to be able to get that and throw it in the bag for 20 bucks, not bad. Next, I found a sci-fi movie that seemed interesting. This is one that I actually left on the shelf the last time I was at Half Price Books, thinking, this looks really weird and I doubt anybody's going to pick it up, and I'll wait for a sale day to pick it up. Sure enough, nobody picked it up. And I decided to pick up here. In the Dead of Space. This, obviously the case has seen better days. But the synopsis makes this sound really interesting. High above the Earth floats the rotating Russian space station Telsa. Astrophysicist astronaut Conrad joins the eclectic multinational crew with spectacular impact. When a shuttle catastrophically collides with the station, accusations fly and tempers flare, followed by calmer emotions which clear the air. But the rarefied atmosphere has a new scent, tinted with love, jealousy, rivalry, madness, and murder. An international conspiracy has stretched its icy hand up to the Telsa, threatening to pull the space station earthward in a massive fireball toward an unsuspecting Los Angeles. One of the crew is guilty. Now the crew must find the evil among them before it finds them. However, in the dead of space, there is nowhere to run. I love sci-fi. I don't know if I've told you that before. Sci-fi is like my favorite genre, you guys. So of course I had to pick this up simply because it was sci-fi, but also it's like a murder mystery in space sci-fi, and it's based on like concepts that could actually be realistic. The plot sounded, or reminded me of, I should say, the plot reminded me of 2010, the year we make contact. You know what I mean? There's that whole through story, if you will, of like international conflicts going on in the Cold War at the time, that, or the continuing Cold War, if you will, down on Earth. And it sounds like that is very much the kind of stuff that happens in this movie, at least maybe to a certain extent. It sounds like it goes even further, actually. So, yeah, I definitely want to check this one out simply because the story sounded interesting, you know what I mean? And any sci-fi movie with a decent story is probably going to sell me, even if it's not necessarily great in every other aspect. So, yeah, I figured I'd take a chance on it. Next up, I found Volume 6 of Family Guy to go along with the volumes 1 through 5 and volume 7 that I have. So now I have all 7 of the original Family Guy volumes on DVD. I think that's all 7 of the seasons, essentially. So, yeah, that's pretty damn cool if you ask me. Got the original Family Guy seasons up to season 7 now on DVD. And I got pretty much all of them simply by going to Half Price Books and finding them on a really cheap sale. So, yeah, threw this in the bag because why the hell not, you know? I had that hole in the collection there. I had 1 through 5, and then I had 7. So, there you go. 6 fills the hole. We're done. I might not get any more Family Guy after that. It depends. If I see it there and it's going to be really cheap, I might just pick it up. I might pick up Volume 8, Volume 9, whatever shows up there. Next up, I found another product to fill holes in my collection, and that would be South Park 5, Season 5 here. I have Seasons 1 through 4 and Season 7. And again, most of those I've picked up because of Half Price Books, because I found them at Half Price Books. So now I have Season 5, so I have Seasons 1 through 5, and then 7. Now the next one I'm going to need is 6 after this. So I wouldn't be surprised if I find Season 6 at Half Price Books as well. So I'll probably have Seasons 1 through 7 very soon here, for all I know. But regardless, it's nice to be able to get this as part of a fill the bag sale, because then you know you're going to be getting a good deal on it, like pretty much $1 for this. Not a bad deal. Last but not least, certainly not least I should say, I found the complete series of Akira Kurosawa's Samurai 7. Now this of course is the anime based on Akira Kurosawa's Samurai 7, and it really looks interesting to me. I've always wanted to check it out, but I never had the chance. And I'll be honest, you can tell this case has seen better days. This is a well-loved copy of this series, and the DVDs show the exact same amount of wear. Some of them might need resurfacing, but I didn't care. I knew this is something I wanted in my collection. I knew it was something I do not see every day whenever I go out to do some media hunting. So I said, you know what? This is something I'm probably never going to see in the store again, so in any store, for this price, for this level price. So I said, frickin' screw it. I will get it resurfaced if I need to. I really want to check this series out. Fuck yeah, gonna go for it. Why the hell not? So, in total, I found a lot of stuff, you guys. A lot. Whew. Let's just do a count, though, so you guys know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then the CDs make 20. So, those are just the items that I got for myself. The items that I got for myself totaled 20. 20 items. Which means that since I filled the bag for $20, I paid $20 for 20 items. I got each of those items for $1 a piece. And I guess you could say that I got all the stuff that I got for gifts and stuff like that for free. So, sweet! It's always nice when you can get gifts for people completely free. Anyways, that will do it for me. I am so freaking tired, you guys. I've been doing videos all freaking night now, and that, I believe, was the last one. So, that'll do it for me. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Peace.